Around the corner is Leah Williams-Metz, a community activist who has been in the news many times here in Providence, in Rhode Island, nationally for her advocacy work. Had an incident out in Coventry that she kind of reported to Facebook, but wanted to sort of bring to light as to what happened. We did hear from the Coventry Police Department. This was in the piece that was in Go Local today. But I did want Leah to come in and tell the story really straight to folks, kind of what had happened, how she felt, and looking ahead, sort of what she sees happening now. So Leah, I'd like to welcome you around the corner.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in today. This is the studio.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. This is the mark. This is the camera. You know, a lot of times we do stories, we have it in print. You know, you go to Facebook, you recount an event.
Yes.
But, you know, having people in to actually talk about what happened, because words only kind of do so much, right?
Yes.
To be able to say, this is how I really felt. You know, we ran the piece today. We saw people, a lot of feedback to it, but the only person who was there that was in your shoes was you.
Yes.
And how long have you been living in Coventry now
I've been living in Coventry for about a year to a year and a half.
Okay.
Yes. And you know, it's been interesting. It's an interesting, very interesting place to live. You know, I did experience a really, traumatic and threatening incident yesterday when I pulled into my home. When I pulled into my driveway, I had police with their lights going, screaming at me, telling me to get back in my car, and just being very indignant, rude, threatening. My family was home. I felt that I was, they had their hands on their guns. They were very threatening with their language, and my son actually came running out, and I really thought that he was in danger. I felt that I was in danger for my life and for my child's life. And, it's not the first incident that we had in Coventry. It's my neighborhood is unfortunately a very racist area. When I first moved there, my son, he was walking past my neighbor's house. I was just telling Molly about this incident. And they actually called the police on him because they actually called and said, there's a black person walking past my house. And when the police got there, I said, you actually came out because somebody called you and told you there's a black person walking past the house, That was very hard for me to take. I'm a mother, I'm a business owner, a mother of four, I'm engaged with my community, I pay my taxes, I do everything correct, or like anybody else does. I feel that nobody, no matter what color you are, should ever have to go through what I went through yesterday at my home. And it was hard to take in. And, I actually love most police officers. I've worked with them since 2014 with the Providence Advisory Board. I actually had a situation. My son, he has a disability, and he took a walk. This was like the very first day I moved to Coventry. And he took a walk and got lost. And he actually was lost for several hours. So I called the police. They found him, thanks to the Lord, and they brought him home to me. And so I am forever indebted to, that Coventry police officer that helped me and my family. But it's incidents like this that I'm afraid, if they keep happening, or I just want the public to know what happened. Mm-hmm. They said I was speeding. I don't think I was, but I might have been. I don't think I was. I feel that I was followed home to my house in my driveway.
Because I was going to say, if you were stopped in your driveway, at what point did you know that police were behind you? I mean, were you speeding going into the driveway? What was the point at which you realized the police were there?
Quite literally, I drove home just like any other day. I had some errands. I do cycling. I do wrestling. I do jiu-jitsu. I have a family of four, so we're very active. And just coming in from doing all of that into my driveway, I opened the door. That's when I seen the police in my rear view, and then they're screaming at me, running up to the car with their hands on their guns. I mean, I was terrified.
Because you didn't know at that point that they were there, so it wasn't like being on a roadway, seeing the police. So you stepped out of your vehicle like you thought you were walking into your house.
I opened the door to my vehicle, and as soon as I opened the door, that's when they start shouting and screaming at me. So I was just like, oh my God, I actually ran an errand today, came home, and I'm like, oh my God, I looked in all my mirrors to check to see if anybody was following me. Like, it was just a really traumatic experience. My 9-year-old son, he felt the need to have to come out and rescue me from the police. That's how traumatic this was. That's how loud they were yelling at me, to the point where I felt so threatened. I couldn't even bring myself to get my license or my registration out of my purse in the glove compartment. I was so afraid that they were going to do something to me for no reason. Because at this point, I'm like, why did you pull me over? Why are you following me, to my home, So that was really hard. I hope that nobody ever has to go through this. I demand better treatment. I demand better treatment to everybody in Coventry, in Rhode Island, in the U.S. Nobody should have to go through that. No one.
So talk with us a little bit what had happened. We saw some pictures. You have some video. Again, you saw the officer make the move. We've heard from other folks that said, he was turning on his radio. You couldn't tell. You were in the car and you just saw some movement of the officer.
Well, they both had their hands on their left-hand side, which it looked like, and it appeared to me, and I'm going to say like 99% to me, that was the gun. They would have their hands on their holsters to unsnap the gun. I didn't see a radio. I didn't see anything like that.
You were concerned about that action.
That action, and the police officer that was training the other police officer. So the police officer that was training the officer was the one that was gung-ho and overzealous, and he was pacing back and forth and back and forth. So I'm like, oh my God, like, what is going on? Like, why is he acting this erratic? Why is he acting this behavior? He's yelling at me about my music. I had, a little bit of Biggie Smalls playing on the radio, which I usually have, it's fun. He was yelling, what else was he saying? I mean, it was just so traumatic. I'm still feeling it just talking about it.
So we reached out to the chief, and we saw the statement that was on Go Local this morning. Said that it was pulling over for speeding, kind of reiterated a little bit of the incident. But you reached out to the department. You wanted to talk to them. You want to talk with them. So talk with us about sort of the aftermath after it happened, and you felt the need to go to social media and also reach out to sort of tell your story. Talk about how that happened.
So after the incident happened at my home, me and my fiance, Eugene Montero, we actually called to speak with the chief of police in Coventry. He would not return our calls. We kept getting switched to voicemail, and then we was told that he was busy, and he was too busy and he might not be able to ever meet with us. That was concerning to me, and at that point, that's when I reached out to social media and was like, this is what happened to me. Because I wanted to alert the public as to what had happened, because to me, in my perspective, I was followed home. I'm one of the only, Black or minority members in Coventry who reside there. And for this to happen to me was just outrageous. It was outrageous for a traffic stop. I mean, come on, like, I've been pulled over for a traffic stop just like any other, driving American. We all get pulled over sometimes, at least 90% of us, I believe. And they give you a ticket and they're on their way and you're on your way. I've never experienced anything like this before. And I lived in Providence for a quite, number of years, since I was a child, and I've never experienced anything like this. It was outrageous, it was threatening, it was condescending, it was indignant. I just want to reach out to the public and let my voice be heard, so if you're going through this, I want you to reach out, and let us know what's going on. So maybe if we all come together as a community, we can do something about this and stop this treatment of our citizens. This is insane.
What do you think when you do see in social media people you don't know that said, well, if she was driving the speed limit, this wouldn't have happened, or this wasn't because of her color, that she was just pulled over because she was speeding? What do you think when you see those reactions in social media?
The first thing that comes to mind is if you have something negative to say or if you want to switch the story around, first of all, you wasn't there. You didn't experience what I did. It was at my home. My children were there. I felt extremely threatened for my life and for my children's life. And the people that have things to say like that, they probably don't have a touch or a glimpse of reality of what really goes on out there. Mm-hmm. Obviously we have these, Facebook Live and Instagram Live, and we see it firsthand what happens. Mm-hmm. And especially when you turn on the television, and there's little children being handcuffed for no reason. you know, and so I'm afraid for my life, you know. Even with the child that was killed, Tamar Rice, that was killed with the play gun in the playground, like my son is running outside toward two police officers that have their hands on their guns. Like, I mean, you wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy. You just wouldn't wish that feeling.
Well, I, appreciate your coming in today to tell your story, because I know yesterday you put your heart out on Facebook and put it out there and wanted to tell the story, told the story today, but as we like to do, want to bring people in because really hear it from you.
Thank you.
What took place, how you felt, and again, it's not just someone putting something, a real person that
Yeah.
you're here, so
Thank you
appreciate.
for having me. I need to give you a hug.
Leah, thank you for coming in
Thank
today. Just again, wanted to follow up on this because there has been so much feedback about it. Wanted to hear right from Leah about what had taken place. So please keep us informed.
Definitely.
And of course, we will be talking with you.
Mhm.
I mean, you've been so active. Davy Lopes Pool,
Yeah.
Glamour Magazine.
Yes.
Glamour
That was
Magazine.
awesome.
You were one of a handful of people
Yeah.
picked from around the country for the
Yeah.
work that you do in the community. Been very involved here in Rhode Island.
Yes, and I love it. I love reaching out and fighting for children's rights and the elderly, the people that don't have a voice. And that's me. I want to fight for their rights. Ever since I was younger, that's what I did. That's what I'm always going to do. It's just innate. It's innate, and I love it. So,
Well, I appreciate your coming in again to tell the story, and I know we will talk soon. So, Leah Williams-Metz, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
We appreciate it. We will
Okay.
talk soon.
Yes.
I'll let you around the corner.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you.
Leah Williams-Metz, community activist, coming in to tell us firsthand the story that we reported on Go Local today about an incident that she said took place in Coventry. Wanted to, again, be able to voice what she had put down in words last night on Facebook. Again, we had that today. We had the response from the Coventry Police Department. And I'm sure we'll be talking with Leah in the future, as others as well. So never hesitate to reach out to us here at Go Local. We appreciate your tuning in to the Navigant Credit Union broadcast.